His name is Miguel Rodriguez. He is the founder of Sagrada Familia in Ventanilla, Peru. Some might call it an orphanage, and when seen that way, it's one of the largest orphanages in South America. Others would call it a boarding school, since about half of its residents do have parents or other relatives outside of these grounds, but they're unable to support the children. But everyone here calls it a family, a very big family, and Miguel knows each of them and treats all of them as his family. The Forgotten International made a grant of $10,000, which will pay for 30,000 nutritious meals for children whose only hot meal of the day may be at school. Seen differently, this gift will cover a month of salaries the organization currently pays directly to its teaching staff. Miguel didn't start out intending to teach school, feed, clothe, and care for the health and happiness of hundreds of children. As he says himself, he just wanted to make a lot of money and have a good time.
In my life, I always wanted to be successful, and I define success as having things. I was married and had children. I always wanted to have more and more, a better job, more resources. Then I had a child who was born sick, and unfortunately he died when he was 6 months old. At the time that he died, there were children at the door of the hospital waiting to be treated. And no one treated them because in my country, they only treat you if you pay. And so I felt that looking at these children's dark eyes, I saw my son. And he was waiting for me to take his hands, and he said, "I love you, and I'm here for you." And now when I see a child, I see my son. And it's much better this way because God keeps lending my son to me every day. And this is how my life is, and this is how Sagrada Familia began.
Sagrada Familia has residential facilities for children from as young as 6 months to 18 years old. Many of them are girls, since it's important to get girls educated and keep them off the streets, where they can easily be victimized. There's a dining hall that serves 3 meals a day to over 800 children, and a health clinic that also serves the local community. There are 40 teachers that help Miguel educate these children. In addition to traditional K-12 classes, Sagrada Familia offers vocational training in a variety of fields. At present, new classrooms are being built to give more and more underserved children an opportunity to further their education. Miguel has not forgotten the importance of play, particularly in as much as he is working with children who have had difficult beginnings. And so for them, play and exercise help relieve some of the trauma they've experienced in their lives. They also have an extensive music education program with both a classical orchestra and a more contemporary Peruvian band. There's a modern sewing facility where they make the children's uniforms and take in outside work to help support the other programs.
Among the children who have passed through Sagrada Familia is one named Oscar Chacon Mercado. Oscar Chacon came from Cusco. He was living in the street and the police picked him up in a raid. There was going to be a big event in Cusco and they were making the street children disappear and bringing them to Lima. So he showed up here.
I was 11 years old when they told me that I was going to go to Lima. I was so nervous. I had always lived in the countryside in huts. In Lima, there will be cars, lots of people, and buildings and pools. I imagined that it will be amazing. There were about 100 of us, and when we got here, we were overwhelmed. Miguel was at the back talking. We say, "This is the director?" We were expecting the director to be wearing a suit and elegant, but no, he was humble, little gentleman. He said, "Oh, you are here, welcome." And Miguel was always with every single one of us. There were so many of us, but somehow he was able to be with every single one of us.
Oscar was a strong kid when he arrived, and he hit everyone. He had no schooling, but we put him in 5th grade. It was very hard for him.
And so he saw when we misbehaved or when we were naughty, And he will say, "Child, this is how it is. You have dreams, you have prospects, and you can achieve them. What are you lacking that is holding you back? Tell me what, and I will give it to you." He said, "You have books, you have teachers, you have tutors, and I am here. What do you need? Nothing. So you can do it." And above all, he gave us hope. He gave me hope and strength, and he made me believe that it was possible. I studied secondary school here, and then went on to university and finished a law degree, and now I am a lawyer.
I began working when I was 5 years old, taking care of a house of a neighbor. They paid me in food, and well, I escaped from my house when I was 9 or 10 years old because they were hitting me a lot, and I was not studying. I didn't want that for myself. I wanted to get out of that place. I found refuge in a church, and a nun brought me to the police and then to the court, and eventually to Sagrada Familia. They introduced me to Professor Miguel, and I saw him and thought, he's crazy. I was expecting a well-put-together, well-dressed man, and I was so taken aback. I was the worst here. No one liked me because I was so... Well, when I was a kid, whenever someone gave me something, I asked them, why? Why are you giving me this? I didn't believe in human goodness. I just didn't believe in it. Professor Miguel believed in me. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. He said, "You're going to be a good girl. You're going to be a professional." I looked at him and said, "Who is he talking about? Me?" I couldn't believe it. One time, I even asked, "Why do you have me here? You are dreaming that I'm going to be a great professional and that one day I'm going to change the world. But that's not who I am." And he looked at me and he said, "Liz, you are."
And I remember the times that Liz and I fought and all that she suffered. But she was a girl who wanted to study, and she finished her degree in English.
Now, I'm an English professor. I decided to come back to this community and teach English because this way I can have an influence on the children.
Miguel Rodriguez answered a calling to devote his life to the compassionate care of the underserved children of Peru. He is doing a remarkable job, and we feel he deserves our admiration and support. He is an inspiration to everyone whose life he touches.